Hello and welcome to another episode of Bandit Fishing UK. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make our version of a pulley rig. It's very similar to the standard pulley with a couple of additional extras. There are loads of videos online and a lot of them are excellent as well, they're very good quality, but they keep tying the same rig over and over. This one is different. As you would have seen if you've seen our videos before, we fixed the top hook on our pulleys. So there's your bottom hook, there's the top hook fixed solid. That is not going to slide. That is going to snap off before it slides. That is a solid hook. And also we've got our red stop there to create some resistance. So it stops the fish having slack. A standard pulley would be slack here now. So you'd have all this nonsense going on. Now with this, it only pulls when you get a few pound of resistance. So I'm going to show you how to make this rig. Let's talk to the components of this rig. Now we'll start at the hook end. The hooks I'm going to be using are Varivas Big Mouth. And I'll be using two of these. They're a good hook, very sharp, strong, and I trust them. And that's very important. You've got to be able to trust the hooks you use. Do not skimp on hooks. These are probably the most important thing of the whole rig, your hook. No matter what rig it is, if you've got a sharp hook, it's always going to outfish a blunt hook. Don't skimp on hooks. There are other makes as well, obviously. We use Mantas, Sakuma Mantas a lot. Kamazan are a good hook. There's loads of makes out there. Just make sure you know you can trust the hook. Okay, we'll go on to line now. This is Arso Ultraflex in £70. Now, this is a good quality line. There are other makes out there again. There's plenty of good manufacturers in line. Now, this is £70 and this will go through the eye of that hook twice. And that's very important with the way that we tie the rig, which we'll see shortly. Okay, what's next? We've got Tronics Pro Size 1 swivels. Cheap, just about the cheapest out there of the quality makes, but reliable. I've used them for years. Again, there's other makes out there. Gemini, there's loads out there. Okay, we've got some beads here. Shakespeare salt beads, rig beads, again, about as cheap as you can get, but good, reliable. Breakaway imps, that's going to be the bait clip. Again, if you shop around, if you're clever, you'll find cheaper versions. And then we've got the tubing that's going to make our sliding stop knot. This is Gemini neoprene tubing. I've thrown away the packet, I don't know why, because I know what it is. But this will be cut into short lengths, 6, 7, 8 mil, and I'll show you how to make a stop knot out of that. Okay, what else we got? Oh, right, you'll notice that I've got two bits of black tape here on the table. Now that is there or thereabouts 20 inches from outside to outside, just over 20 inches. But that's just to give me a guide so that my rigs and my snoods are all about the same sort of length. It just gives a bit of consistency. And if you're going to make big numbers of rigs, it is important that your snoods and your bodies are the same size as each other. Okay, what else have I got on the table? I've got a scissors, could do with a better one. That's an old one from my box, that's all I can find. And I've got these rig pullers, which carp fishermen use a lot, but they do save your fingers, especially when you're pulling on swivels, you know, things you've got to grip. You've got a thick line you're trying to pull tight, just hook them in and pull them tight. Okay, let's get on to making the rig. I'll start by making the rig body, and I'm only making one rig now just to show you, but usually I'd make 10, 15, 20 rigs at a time, or I might spend say an hour or two one night just making rig bodies, and then the next day I'll just make all the snoods after, and then combine them in another day perhaps. It's just something you can do for the week, is prep that you can do. You don't want to be wasting time on the bank, sort of tight, you know, making rigs when you can just be looking at your rods or baiting up. Okay, so I've left the line on the spool, I haven't cut it yet. I've got my imp. I'm going to do a half tuck blood knot, about 5 turns. I won't bother showing you too much for that because there's loads of videos out there. There's 5 turns in and tuck back in. I'll just wet that, pull it pretty much down. I'll get my rig puller, hook him in. This is where it saves your hands. just pull it tight. You see that knot is nice and tight there. Now your tags don't have to be really close. I always leave about 3-4 mil. So I'm going to cut that, put the excess in a little tub. Okay, this is where my tape comes in now. Okay, so I'll get my imp. I'll put it on so it lines up with the outside of that tape. Again, it's only rough, just a rough guide. I'll measure up the full width and cut it to the length there. Okay, so that's the length of my rig body. It's 20 inches at the minute. Now, we're on to making our stop. So like I said, I'll cut a few mil off. So that's about 6-7 mil. Hope you can see that there. Cut it off. And what I usually do is I'll cut a full roll of this up and put it into a little pot. It's just easier then, it just saves me doing it every time. Prep is going to save you time in the long run. It just means you spend less time making rigs. Personally, it's not something I enjoy, it's just something that's got to be done. Okay, to make the stop knot. Now you get your rig body, you thread it through the tube. There it is, so that's free on the tube, on the line there, slide in. Now, leave a bit of line through, grab the loose end. Now it's important not to knot the line. So hold the line to one side and thread it through again. So that's gone through twice there. So you can see that's on a loop. And if you watch this, as you tighten, it will create a stop knot. And there it is. Now I'll just moisten that, just with the mouth there. And if you pull, just put a little bit of strain, it'll slide. It'll slide all the way down to the imp. But it does take a few pound of force. So when you're fishing, it's going to take, a fish is going to hook itself before it pulls that. So it's acting like a fixed paternoster. Okay, I'll just slide that out of my way now. Halfway down the rig body. So just as a normal pulley, it's going to be a bead, a swivel, and a bead. So that's a swivel trap between two beads. And to join, I got my finger in there. To join the snood and the rig body, it's going to be another swivel, which I will tie on now. Same knot. Just wet it again. Important to wet your knots. Just use a bit of water or saliva, it's up to you. So I got my knot puller, I'm just going to pull that tight. There we go, that's nice and tight there. Cut off the excess. Yeah. And that's the rig body complete. Time to make a snood. Right, it's time to make the snood to match up with that body I've just made. So I got my two hooks out ready. Got my line, again still attached to the spool. Just going to do the same knot again. That's the only knot I use in sea fishing. Half tuck blood knot. So I just put it through the hook, through the eye of the hook. 5 turns through the first loop, through the loop we've just made. Wet in, pull it tight. Can't use a knot puller on a hook. Just use the bend. Careful not to bend the hook in a funny way. You don't want to misshape the hook. That's a good knot there. Again, cut off the excess. Now again, I'm going to use my tape markers. I'll put the bend of the hook on the left hand side and I'll cut just the other side of the other tape, so it's the same length there or thereabouts as the rig body to start with. But this, if you've used a pulley rig before, you'll know that the snood has got to be shorter than the rig body, otherwise it won't clip up. So this is where you lose a bit of this length. Now I've shown this on videos before. I see a lot of people will have the hook facing backwards. You want that hook point facing towards the fish. So that's threaded on the snood. That's the way you want it facing. That way. facing towards the fish. Okay, now it's time to fix this top hook. Now, carp fishermen or coarse fishermen out there will know this knot as the knotless knot. You can treat this as like, say, a hair rig boilie. That's all it's going to be, it's like a hair rig. So I'm going to line the hook up, so that hook is free at the minute, just slide in. I'm going to line it so there's about an inch between the knot on the end of that shank, the straight part of the hook there. Now I'm just going to hold that in place, and I'm going to start wrapping out to create the fixed knot. Now I'm just pinching that together. I'm just going to start winding, so there's the first wind there. I'm just going to do about 10, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's the best part of the knot done. And I'm going to go back up once, keep in tension, and I'll pinch it. Now what I should have done is cut an angle in this snood line. Just, it gives it a bit of a point. Like I said at the start of the video, it is tight fit, so I've got a sharp edge there. I hope you can see that. It's a bit hard to get the focus, but that's at point, so it's a 45-degree angle. Now this sharp end is going to go straight back through the eye. I'm going to try to get it through there anyway. Yeah, that's through. Okay, so you can see that's gone through there. Now keeping the tension in the hand that's holding the hook, just pulling through, and there we go. We've got a trapped hook. Now I can pull that knot tight, get the line across the back of the hook, and we've got a fixed pennel. Simple. Looks complicated, it's simple. Now you've seen the video. But now you'll understand what I was saying about the thickness of the line. So you couldn't do this with a 3/0 hook and say 100-pound line. It's not going to happen. So most 50s or 60s will go through a 50 or 60-pound line. Okay, that's the snood. That's the snood made. So all I've got to do now is tie the snood to the body. Again, same knot. So I've got the pulley swivel out of the way there, so that's the snood swivel. Tie them together. Just pull them tight. Cut off the excess. I'll clip a lead on. I got a spare lead here somewhere, just to show you. Now, I would have lost a bit of length on there, an inch or two, so now this should clip up. Now I'm going to put the bottom hook into the imp, so I've just clipped the lead on there, as if I was fishing. So say I've baited up, let's put the bottom hook on, there, pull everything tight, and there we are, it's perfect. But I like to slide that stop knot up as far as it can go, so it is working pretty much as a fixed rig. Oh, I've lost my light. But you can see that. Fixed panel, that's our cod rig complete. Okay, so the rig is now complete. When clipped up, the rig is 18 inches long. And when I say 18 inches, I mean when you've got the hook in the imp, it's clipped up ready to cast, the bottom of the imp to the top swivel, that's 18 inches. So you'll see us in videos, we'll say 30-inch pulley, maybe a 5-foot pulley, you know, when you go for rays and things. So that's when it's clipped up. So it's just under an 18-inch snood when fishing. Okay, so the differences with our pulley compared to most, we've got the fixed top hook of me. Now that we started using because we were missing fish, and you'd come in with the top hook would be slid down, slid up, it'd be all over the shop. As soon as we started fixing it solid, we started hooking pretty much 50-50 fish on the bottom or the top hook, or both hooks even. So you've got full confidence in that staying as it is. Good hooking potential there. And the main difference was that stop. That's what a lot of people seem to be interested in, is the stop. Now that creates resistance. There's a couple of pounds of force to move that. And now you can imagine a fish is taking a hook, taking a bait, so he's got the hooks in him, and starts swimming away. He's going to feel that resistance, and before that stop and move, that hook, trust me, this sharp, razor sharp, that hook point is going to go in the fish. So he's hooked. It's a self-hooking rig. But probably the best rig to hook a fish is a fixed paternoster. So this gives you the best thing, really, is the next best thing. You've got a semi-fixed rig, but you've also got the benefits of the standard pulley. So if you get a fish of sort of 2 or 3 pound even, or less, it's going to pull on that, and you're still going to be able to get your lead up out of the snags. So you've got the hooking benefits of a fixed paternoster, but you've got the benefits of a pulley when it comes to playing the fish, to getting your fish in and landing it. And that just about covers it. That covers everything on the rig. So I'll finish there. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next episode.